What is it? I believe that we're looking at a city of the lost continent of Atlantis.
Welcome to Channel 13's Public Access, the show where we dive deeper into our Story Beneath series and go into like the nitty-gritty details of those sorts of things. Today, Kane is going to present us with all the information that he's collected on the man who brought Atlantis to America, Ignatius Donnelly. But before we get too far into that, how are you guys doing today? Is everyone good?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Everyone's feeling good?
I think I was a little tired, but yeah.
John the Younger, feeling good. I'm of course John the Elder. Kane, how are you doing, buddy? You ready to do this book report for us?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It was like a presentation you got to do in high school, as it looked like to me.
It kind of is. You guys can see this, but I've got a slideshow and everything.
Yeah, we'll post these pictures obviously on with the YouTube video, and if you're listening to this in the podcast version, we will put links to some of the pictures and things like that in the description.
Do podcasts have descriptions?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we can make anything happen here at Channel 13.
Yeah,
we're
magic makers.
we can move mountains here at Channel 13. All right. So I guess, are you ready? And to dive deep into Ignatius Donnelly. That sounds sexual. Payne, are you ready to really dig into the man behind really Atlantis in America, Ignatius Donnelly?
Just to get some prerequisites out of the way and all that. This is the guy who wrote all those books, right? Politician.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it late 1800s? Am I right about that, or early 1900s?
I'm gonna go through all. I'm gonna give like a sort of brief biography because I think it's important to understand a bit about the person, and then I'm gonna go into the actual book that we used as the primary source here.
Yeah, I don't know how much you looked into him, but I do have some questions about him. But I'll let you start your presentation before.
All right, so Ignatius Loyola Donnelly. He was born in Philadelphia on November 3rd, 1831.
That's a hell of a name.
It is. So he had two siblings. One was an older brother. There's no real information about his older brother.
He die young or something?
There's no.
He was a fucking failure.
His younger sister actually is known.
Or something.
His younger sister Eleanor was actually fairly prolific and well-known poet and author in her own right. His parents were father was Philip, who was an immigrant from. I think I got these names. I looked up the pronunciations on these names. Fentoon County, Turin, Italy.
Okay,
I said that wrong one. Fentoon County, Turin, Italy.
All right. So can I do an Italian accent this episode?
No.
I said it wrong. It's not Italy. It's Ireland. I don't know why I said Ireland. It's Ireland.
I'm bad. I can only say one phrase in an Irish accent, and that's it.
Fentoon is a village. County Turin, the county from Ireland.
Okay. His mother?
His dad was from there. His mother was the daughter of an Irish immigrant from Fentoon, County Turin, Italy.
Okay. So was this during the height of like the Irish Panic or whatever? Whenever people really didn't like Irish immigrants?
That's kind of overblown.
Okay.
It was small thing in certain places of like New York. It wasn't actually.
I watched games in New York. What do you mean it's overblown? Martin Scorsese lied?
No, I think
no way, bro. Martin Scorsese
like,
awesome.
I've just read a bit like it was a bit overblown in some some historical context.
Well, I mean, I know it wasn't like full on racist. Like I know they weren't
right. It was more of
I thought it was just like hey, we don't kind of.
I think that's why that movie takes place in New York is because it was like a melting pot and everyone was coming in there. I think the no Irishman signs and things like that I think are primarily in heavily urban areas, I would imagine.
Yeah. Sure.
His father started out as just a peddler. He did eventually begin to study medicine at the Philadelphia College of Medicine.
What is a peddler?
Peddler.
Peddler? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
His mother operated a pawn shop, which is how she actually supported the family while her husband went to medical school. Fortunately, in 1838, he contracted either yellow fever or typhus. I've seen both from a patient, and he died. At this time, Donnelly would have been about 8 years old. I don't find the exact date, a year. It was just, I found that he died when Eleanor was an infant, and she was born in 1838. So it seemed that would be the year he died.
Mm-hmm.
But said his mother supported her and their 3 children operating a pawn shop. Donnelly decided he wanted to become a lawyer. He paid his way into law. He was not a wealthy family at all. He worked to pay his way into law school, and he was admitted to the bar in 1852. He did work for a law firm for a little while, and eventually sort of went out on his own, had his own little firm. Around 1855 is when he started getting into politics. Not full blown. He just started dabbling in it a little bit. And that year he also married his wife, Catherine. They did have 3 children together. I don't have any information on the 3 children.
Before I know it's hard to come by information on like early life and stuff like that, but was there any evidence that in his early life, before we get into his like adulthood, that he was into like the occult or
writing,
supernatural things or anything like that? Was that something that you came across that like he had an interest in?
No, not really. He was always interested in these sort of things. He was always sort of someone who questioned things and looked at things scientifically and stuff. He was always that. His sister Eleanor actually started writing at the age of 9.
Okay.
Actually, the way she became published author is a lot of her poems started getting released under other names by other people, and her family's like, well, you might as well get credit for this. So she gathered them all into a book and published it herself.
Okay.
But it was something that Donnelly was always sort of interested in. He's,
what did you say her name was again?
Eleanor.
I feel like I've heard that name before. Eleanor Donnelly? Does that sound familiar to either?
Eleanor Cecilia Donnelly. That's the only name I was finding for her, so I assume she never married. There was no mention of marriage or kids, and if she died with the name Donnelly...
They really didn't try on their other kids' name, did they? It's like there's Ignatius, and then there's...
Well, I don't know what his brother's name was. It could be...
Oh, there was
Fred
a name
Donnelly.
for him?
I never found a name. I just found that he was...
I mean, Eleanor
had
had
an older
the
brother.
most creative name even back then, I don't think. It was
No,
probably
probably not.
fairly
It's
popular.
definitely not the same as Ignatius
Brother,
Loyola.
Brother, we are named John.
I'm just saying.
We cannot put
But there's
John
I think there's a
people
clear
with bad
favorite from
names.
the very beginning of this family, is all I'm saying.
Anyway, so he was working as a lawyer and dabbling in politics. He wasn't really making a lot of money at this. So Donnelly was never in his life, maybe for brief points, but never really a wealthy man.
Okay.
So in 1857, him and his wife and their 2 children moved out to Minnesota. They moved out to Minnesota because it was sort of on the frontier of at the time, there was a land boom going on in that area at the time, and so he went out there to sort of participate in that. He did start working for a place, and he sold sucker lots. So basically, they would buy useless land, cut it up into plots, and try to sell it.
The Mitt Romney of his day.
Sure.
Whenever you said he dabbled in politics, what did you mean by that? Like he would just like give speeches sometimes, or like he financially supported
Like the
politicians?
lower level of politics.
Okay, so like administration, state level.
Like a city,
Yeah,
probably,
not working,
attending a city
not
hall
running for
meetings
office or
and
anything,
things
just
like
sort of
that.
getting in campaigning and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. He was actually fairly successful at this. He was actually made quite a bit of money on this. Unfortunately, that land boom, it dropped out very quickly, and he was back to
Not a lot of
not
KB
having
boys
money
back then.
again. So about that time, he started sort of moving fully into politics. His political career was varied. The man never stuck with a party for too long. He was a Democrat for most of his life, and then a Republican until about 1884. He became a Democrat again at that time. Then about 1887, he went independent for most of his life. for a limited chunk of time. And then after that, he was just part of various inconsequential populist parties until he died.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of important. Wasn't that uncommon at that time to be like, I'm in this party now, I'm in this party, and now I'm in, like, it really wasn't for politicians to kind of bounce around like that. Because also, too, during this time, the very definition of what a Democrat was and a Republican one was also shifting, like, right? Like, post-Civil War.
Yeah, this was a time when, so there is the parties did shift. It was not a sudden thing like it gets made out to be. It was a very slow thing over time. This was where lines were starting to blur and things were starting to get complicated.
This was during the time period, right, where a lot of politicians had very similar views on things. Am I wrong about that? And then there was very little dissent within the government.
No, that's never been a thing.
No,
there was always dissent. Politicians have never agreed on anything.
Of course, but for the party shift to happen, they had to be pretty similar.
Yeah, well, I think why the party shift happened was there was a big thing that happened in the American South.
Yeah.
Well, the Democratic Party started splitting into two.
Yeah, this was during the time of the Dixiecrats, right?
This
is post-Civil War, correct?
No, we're covering that whole territory. Yeah. This is like during something we discussed. He was progressive for his time. He fought for he helped emancipated slaves to get established. He fought for civil rights. He was on all that. Like he was.
So he was an abolitionist, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. He was ever
because that has,
he was from the North, so like
abolitionist has, I guess, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like connotations, like he was actively fighting against slavery.
Yeah.
That's not really was a prerogative or a main issue with this, but when slavery ended, he was like, we should help these people.
Yeah, I never found anything to say that he was active in abolitionism, but he would definitely advocated for former slaves and for civil rights.
Okay.
His thing sort of was, especially at the end of his career, is we're all poor, and these rich people are the problem, not
populist messaging.
So So wait, he was a politician and he was poor. You said that's weird. I didn't think that was possible.
Well, I mean, I would say the most financially stable period of his life was when he was being a politician.
I was like, compared to today, aren't they all like millionaires?
So his political career, it basically as follows: like, during the period of the Civil War, he was the lieutenant governor of Minnesota for 2 terms. He spent several terms as a congressman for Minnesota. And then through various scattered interviews over the years, he was a state senator in Minnesota. He did run as a vice presidential candidate for the Mid-Road People's Party, which was a populist party with socialist leanings. Again, this was a bit like just inconsequential social populist parties that he was part of. Nothing.
And I also think it's important to know that at this time in American politics, socialist wasn't a bad word. It just kind of meant, usually it was like a pro-union, pro-worker party type of deal. It wasn't what we think of now, where it's like a word adjacent, where it's like you call one side fascist, you call one side socialist.
Yeah.
It's not that sort of dirty word as it's evolved into politics in America as it is now.
His wife, Catherine, died in 1894. 1898, he married his secretary, Marion, stayed married to her until his death. His relationship with the religion was complicated. He was religious for his whole life, Catholic, but there was a point where he stopped attending church and never went back, never participated in religion again.
I could see that in going back to what we discussed a little bit, because he almost uses the biblical flood as like a thing of like, here's where this story came from. Not that the biblical flood was the historically accurate telling. It is, here's where the story comes from.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that whenever you're a devout, believer.
Yeah. He didn't treat the Bible as literal.
The literal word of God.
He did eventually die in 1901. Died in 1901 from a stroke at the age of 69. Now, as this was going on, he made a name for himself as a writer, which is where this while we're here today. So
this is interweaved throughout everything else he's doing.
Yeah.
Like in the background.
Yeah.
He's writing.
So when he was, this would have been 1882, he wrote Atlantis, the Antediluvian World.
Yeah.
The book we're here for.
Is this his first book?
First published. He wrote an poem when he was like 18 or something. He was really young that was published, I believe. But
this is his first large published work. Yeah.
That's crazy. Your first book like creates a culture shift so big that it lasts until the 2020. That's crazy, man.
So we're going to go into more detail on it because this is what this is about. The book was successful, very popular. It was heavily scrutinized by the scientific community.
Of course.
Regular people loved it, but scientists, like even, and I'll get more into, obviously going to get more into science later, but even during this period, this science was not great.
Right. It's like your casual readers loved it. The academics looked at it and were like, this is pseudoscience.
Yeah.
Like,
in particular, his scientific approach to the Bible was not popular. Oh, right now.
Good. Take a second. You good?
So, like, again, I'll reiterate that for the cut. The way he tried to science the Bible wasn't hugely popular at the time. That sort of thing was becoming more of a thing, and people were very resistant to it.
Right.
During that time.
I think what's important also, if you go farther back in time, we did have the Enlightenment, and then we went through like a reform period where suddenly the Bible was literal again amongst most people, and we kind of been struggling back and forth with that in American society ever since.
I mean, not just even in American society, in world society.
Most of the rest of the modern world is kind of, I mean, religion has consistently fallen out of favor.
Yeah, but it comes in swings, right?
Yeah, I mean, like anything else.
Yeah. So, in 1883, a year later, he released a sequel to the Antediluvian World called Ragnarok, the Age of Fire and Gravel. It was still successful, but less so. And the science was even... audience can't see my finger quotes, but the science was even less well-received than...
Yeah.
So what is that?
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what is this book? What is it about? Have you read it?
No.
Okay, so you don't know either.
What was the thesis of that? Was it just more Atlantis?
It was...
Gotta give the people what they want?
Not exactly Atlantis. It was basically that a comet had hit the Earth and destroyed ancient advanced civilization. It kind of contradicted the Antediluvian world in some ways and expanded on some ideas.
So he's kind of building off that idea, and almost like he heard the intellectual academic argument against it. It was like, okay, well, let's leave the myth Atlantis part out of it, and let's just say there was an advanced civilization in general.
Possibly. Like, since I haven't read it, I'm not
conjecture. I'm very curious, though, if he's just like, actually, it's not Atlantis anymore, and it's a different advanced civilization, because that would be very funny.
Actually, guys, never mind. Today,
there's two advanced civilizations.
Today, weirdly, he can just be like, today he can just weirdly get on like the TV and be like, "Nah, I never wrote that book.
Yeah, it wasn't me. AI.
I did that. Yeah. What do you mean? I didn't. Everyone's saying I didn't write that book. What do you mean? Like, I wrote this book, and that was my theory the whole time.
So his next, he did write another. Wrote a couple things on Shakespeare after that. This is when he was really getting into his Shakespeare arc. There was a whole Shakespeare arc.
This myth is also, like, very preceded as well. Like,
yeah, so this next one, the Great Cryptogram, this is also another... So, the thing about Donnelly is, he is one of the most influential people when it comes to the modern understanding of Atlantis that no one knows.
Yeah.
When it comes to this This book was about the theory that Sir Francis Bacon was Shakespeare.
Yeah, literature nerds love this.
Yeah, which is the thing.
I mean, it's
like,
debated.
I've heard this.
It's still debated to today. Like,
This
by
is
actual
not-
academics. Like,
This is not his. He didn't come up with the theory that Sir Francis Bacon was Shakespeare.
Oh, okay. So he didn't make this up. He's
No.
just
he's like
writing something
collecting the
about
ideas
it.
in a book and presenting.
Well,
it.
no, not that. So it had already existed for a while, but he believed the idea. What the Great Cryptogram was he believed that he had found codes in Shakespeare's work that Sir Francis Bacon had left in there. It is like 900 pages of math.
No. Is this insane?
Dude, Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, is this like bonkers shit?
This was his most successful and academically well-received.
Sir Francis
No.
Bacon.
Okay,
book.
but like today, do
Printed
people...
it on the
No,
back.
today it's complete nonsense.
That's what I was gonna say. So it is. It's
Of
it's
Hamlet
batshit
strips.
shit. It's like
Like
schizo.
No, not necessarily. No, this is not like crazy level stuff. Like the math in it was actually admired by scholars at the time.
Okay.
Like the math. Now, of course, now, since then it's been looked at a different way. And
Yeah,
it's,
of course.
You know,
Of course. But at the time, it wasn't like, oh, this is fucking crazy.
no, it was very successful. It was he. After this, the majority of his money, after he published this, came from giving lectures on this. That's how he sustained himself from most of the rest of his life. It became his career to give lectures on this.
Yeah, because whenever I looked at this book online, it was just like a general thing where like him trying to prove that Sir Francis Bacon wrote some of Shakespeare.
I thought he had originated this.
But the
No,
fact that he was like,
no.
I'm going to throw some math in here too to prove it. It's awesome.
Yeah. There's codes.
After this, he got into novels. He wrote 3 fiction novels. First one, he published these both under the pseudonym of Edmund Boisgilbert. I don't know how he pronounced it. First one was Caesar's Column. It was a science fiction novel set during 1988 about a worker revolt against a global oligarchy. I haven't read this either, but I do kind of intend to read this at some point.
Dude.
Why would he
Holy
change his
fuck.
fucking name?
Holy fuck,
Hold
bro.
on.
Throw
We
the
gotta back up.
fist.
His
That's
name was-
sweet.
It's a cool plot, but I couldn't barely listen because in my brain I'm like, he changed his name to that from Ignatius?
Well, part of it probably would be he was moving from nonfiction to fiction, so maybe
okay.
he wanted to shed.
Separate that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had something to say about that too, because it's not really a
Crazy.
thing today. Like, why did people
mean,
back then always like
non-
change their names whenever they
Non
went to
plumes are
fiction?
still a thing.
Yeah, Stephen
Yeah,
King famously
yeah.
did it.
Yeah,
when he
yeah,
was,
but they do it for different reasons,
what was it, Richard
right?
Bachman for a minute?
It depends. Like, I don't know his reasons for this. I don't know
Okay.
why he chose to do this.
All we
That's
could do
just
is really-
speculation
yeah.
on my
With
part.
Stephen King, it was because he wanted to see if he was a good writer. Right?
Yeah, he was having some imposter syndrome and
Yeah.
thought that he was only selling books because of his name, so he wrote under a pseudonym for a couple,
Like in my mind, though, like
years.
I don't know why. Whenever people like, especially whenever they start with nonfiction books and switch to like fiction, and they change their names, it's like makes me think it's out of shame. Like they're ashamed that they're
Possibly.
writing fiction. It's weird. I don't understand it at all.
His second novel, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Dr. Hugway. I actually did read this one. It's spelled Huguet. The reason I pronounce it Hugway is because it's set in the South, and he says that he's of French descent.
Oh, okay.
So I assume the T is not. I'm pronouncing it in the most French way I know how to pronounce it.
So like, is this like Creole South? Right?
No, it's in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I
He's
do have a
French
couple of
descent.
questions
Okay.
about this book because I like scrolled to a page whenever we were like very early on in the research of this video.
Yeah.
We scrolled to a page and it was fucking batshit. But I do want to know if it's the character that's batshit or if he is projecting his ideas onto a character.
So this novel was published in 1891, about 10 years before his death.
Did we just go over the plot?
I'll go over it a
Okay.
little bit. Having read it, I think this is, and I think what he was trying to do with these novels is similar to what we're doing with this show, is putting the ideas into a narrative format so they're more palatable and more accessible. Dr. Hugway seems to have a distillation of a lot of his ideas and beliefs into this novel.
Before we start asking questions about it, we really should get into the plot, though.
Yeah, so the plot of Dr. Hugway. Dr. Hugway is the lead character. He is a physician by trade. He's at the point, he says, I don't remember his exact wording, but it's point, but like, he has reached a point in his profession where it's no longer necessary for him to work. So he's well off. He's a prolific reader. He has a massive library. The character also believes that Sir Francis Bacon was shaking.
He's got to tie it back in.
He's got to bring it up.
That's why I'm saying this is the distillation of all of his stuff, because everything he talks about is in here to some degree.
That's so interesting.
Basically,
that's very funny.
He is a bachelor by choice. He's 35 years old at the time of the novel. His views on women, the Doctor's views on women, are kind of... He doesn't like them in general, but he also is talking about there's like an academy, the plate factors, and there's an academy for women near his home, and he says the women who run it, the three sisters who are still single at their old age... He doesn't say how old they are, but they're older, unmarried women. He says he refers to the fact that they never married as one of the signs of the foolishness of men. That they're very intelligent, and the fact that they were not ever married, it shows how foolish men are.
Okay, because they're probably like going through like intimidation and like not feeling like inferiority complex.
Yes. So he has a friend who I don't know. I think lives in the same county. I'm not sure. It's part of. I don't know. He lives somewhere nearby. He's a colonel. He goes by the name Colonel. He was a colonel during the Civil War, and he has a daughter. Doesn't say how old the daughter is, but she's referred to as a schoolgirl on multiple occasions. Who starts going to the academy next door to nearby Dr. Hugh. Probably went next door. This was the South and post Civil War, so next to probably. There's probably a big gap in between,
47 miles that he had to walk.
That poor anime schoolgirl character.
So
walked so far.
She starts going to this academy, and when he meets one of the women who runs the academy, he's like, "Oh, this girl, your friend. I think her name is Mary. I can't remember now, but this girl." And he's like, "Oh yeah, she's the friend. She's the daughter of my friend, Colonel. What's his name?" And the woman's like, "Yeah, she's read every book in our library, and we don't have anything else to give her anymore. Would you mind if she came to your library and read? You have the best library around." He's like, "Well, sure, of course. She wants to read, fine." So she comes over and starts reading, and they bond. They bond over their. She also now he portrays her as also a very intelligent woman. She, like Dr. Hugwit, thinks that Sir Francis Bacon was...
Jesus Christ!
Wow. He wrote his perfect woman.
To a child?
Girl.
He describes her hair as having peak highlights at one point.
He actually doesn't give much of a description of her.
Oh my God.
He introduces her to the 1800s version of the Pixies.
Bro.
He never says her age.
Jesus Christ.
Her age is never mentioned.
But she is a schoolgirl that is friends with her daughter.
Multiple times.
He's friends with her father. Her father is portrayed as being older than him. It's never stated, but he is portrayed as being older than him.
Never. But she's not portrayed necessarily as a.
No, she's portrayed as being very intelligent and mature, but don't know.
Yeah, so was Lolita.
Yeah, that's the point.
Anyway, we can't make assumptions.
Yeah,
because it's not specifically stated. So
I'll try something. But yeah, they fall in love and they're going to marry, and he himself and another President Major who's a Scotsman, a guy from the north. And by the way he writes the Scottish guy talking.
Does he do whole accent?
Yeah. I wish I'd pulled some excerpts from it.
It's just this on page.
He's engaged to her at this point. They're set to be married, and they go to him and this Scottish guy and this other military guy from the north, they go to the colonel's house for a weekend, and another guy shows up who's sort of the villain of the story, is a lawyer who's everyone thinks is seedy and everything like that. So one afternoon they're all sitting out on like this veranda or something, discussing slavery and what to do. And I'll go ahead and give this caveat, because it's going to come up with again to the book later. I'm going to use the word African. That's not the word he uses.
Yeah. I think that I think we could all assume that based on the time period.
I don't know. I think someone should say it.
Well, it's not the hard R. That word does come up in the book.
It's the one that also ends in like something that I would say if I had like an exclamation.
Oh, I see.
I'd be
like,
oh,
I see. Okay.
Yeah. It was the word for the time.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not going to say it.
I mean, many great books have it in it, especially during the time period. It was just a product of its time.
Yeah, but they're talking about that, and this is where it gets kind of interesting, because Dr. Hewitt's view on this is that they're not inferior by nature, just by circumstance.
He's a nurture guy. Talking about nature versus...
It would kind of be nature, the way he... So, his thing is...
I do have a quick question about this. Is this post or during the Civil War?
This would be post. After at this point.
Yeah, pretty well post. So what Dr. Hewitt says is that because they never left Africa like the other races, left Africa. They stayed in Africa, and due to the harsh conditions in Africa, their skulls grew thicker. Therefore, their brains did not grow as big.
This is always a thing. This is always a thing throughout time.
But his thing is, it's the responsibility, like not only the responsibility of intelligent white men, but the responsibility of a Christian to help them overcome this, like they can't help it.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so... Dude, I haven't even gotten to it yet.
We haven't even got there, and he's already like, something offensive is probably coming.
This is vague. This is like vaguely racist that you don't get anymore. It's like, no, they're inferior, but we gotta help them, man.
This idea was unpopular in the era because it was too progressive.
Yeah, I know. That's the crazy thing. This is the kind of racism that like you don't get anymore. This was in 1800s.
Well, yes, we do, because we still get white saviors. It's that same sort of concept. Yeah, it's like, so different. It's like the white savior thing. Like, we need to save them from themselves, essentially.
So he goes on this... It goes for a few pages of this monologue about how it's the responsibility to help them. Like, they can overcome it. They can be on the same level as white men. It may take a few generations, but it can happen. And he does say that it was a blessing that they were brought to America, so they would be
so their skull thins out.
No, hey, you gotta let him finish this. This has gotta be in the pod.
Go ahead.
He does say that the ones that got out of Africa and were brought to America were lucky because they have a chance to escape.
Yeah. That's weird. I feel like I heard someone on like a news story say that the other day, almost.
Yeah. But he goes on this big monologue about how like it's the Christian thing to do. It's like God wants us to help them, not to oppress them. We need to bring them up to, the level. And it's an idea that we'll get into with the Antediluvian world, that civilization has to be bestowed. It can't be achieved on your own. And this is their
and now that his Atlantis stuff, that having that idea in his head that civilization is not something that's built from the ground up, that it's bestowed upon, passed down from generation to generation.
It seems like it really fucked up his brain.
Really makes sense now.
But he goes on this thing, and that...
you should probably expand.
A lot of the guys sort of like come around on it, like, oh, this makes sense. It's very... And even Mary, who's listening in, is like so proud of him, these ideas. But that skeevy lawyer guy... the next day, he goes around spreading like, oh, he wants all the Africans to be equal to white people. He wants to... And at this time, they're already putting forth the idea of him running for politics. Of him running for office, being a politician. And so the lawyer guy goes around spreading around that he's advocating that the Africans should be on the level of the white man and everything. the lawyer had spread all this about him, and the public sentiment toward him had turned. And his political campaign was starting to sort of seem like it was going to take a downturn. So the colonel urges him to just walk it back publicly. Say, no, that's not what I believe. It's just, he's like, just tell a lie for now. It's better to get into the office so you can make the change. And he's very resistant to it. So one afternoon, he sits down with Mary, and he's basically telling her, like, I can't lie about it. It would be a betrayal of my beliefs to sit here and lie about it. And she basically reiterates what her father said. And she convinces him to go back on his word, which he finds he is not happy about at all. He's extremely conflicted about it. He feels terrible about the idea. And he feels like he's betraying, because he genuinely wants to advocate for the freed slaves. He genuinely does. He genuinely thinks they deserve to be treated well. And he feels like if he comes out and denounces these rumors, then he's betraying them. And he is extremely conflicted about this morally.
So this character is anti-segregationist?
Yes. So that night, he's so distraught over this that he actually leaves. He goes home. Goes back to his home. And he basically doesn't sleep well. He has nightmares. And he has a vision of face of God. Of God. It's not just face of God. Surrounded by black hands. He says they're the hands of, like, African. And basically the God sort of admonishes him. It tells him, that he's betrayed his morals and his beliefs. And he has, there's a punishment for that.
Yeah.
And so the next morning, he wakes up in the body of I don't know if he was a freed slave, emancipated man. This was, again, 1890s. It's possible he could have been born free at this point. But not just born into the body of an African man, but a chicken thief. They straight up say he's a chicken thief. And he's known as a drunkard and just a bad person in general. And they've switched bodies.
So it's a body swap comedy?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it actually is.
And I'll try to sum up the rest of the plot quickly. But yeah, he decides to create a church slash school to teach the Africans to raise them up, to make them better. It's unpopular with some people, popular with others. Goes well at first and then very badly. So I'll say this: every black character or any character with any African heritage in the story, they all die. Every single one of them. So he starts this church. This thing.
Well, he's being punished.
No, I'm more curious about if he's making a point here.
So what happened is he pisses off like the racists of the town, basically. And actually, the guy who took over his body is one of his most fervent haters. Because he doesn't want to switch bodies back.
Interesting.
He's suddenly in the body of a rich white man, and he doesn't want to.
But that's also, too, that's also a stereotype, right?
Yeah,
the black.
Well,
black
again,
man
this particular one is portrayed to be just a bad person in general.
Mm.
His wife is portrayed to be a very good person. He's just considered a bad person in general. It does seem to be like the point is it's not a matter of race. It seems what Donnelly is trying to convey with this.
You could be a good person. But, I mean, what I was saying, like, what was interesting about the punishment part, God said this was a punishment. Maybe what he's trying to say also is the punishment isn't that he's in a black man's body. The punishment is that he still tries to do good here, and everyone around him dies, and he's a failure at it.
No, that's not... Because, see, the punishment is that he wakes up in the body of this man. He speaks just like himself. He's just as eloquent, just as intelligent.
But he's not treated the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so interesting.
So he says at the beginning, he always maintains, I'm Dr. Hugway. Like, I speak just like him. I talk just like him. And it was like, all right.
Yeah.
Spam the town drunk. Sleep it off. Even Mary, he goes to Mary. And he tells her things that only she would know, speaks just like him. She doesn't believe him.
I mean, it's the scene from Big, right?
When freaks out. Two people believe him. His servant, who is also a black man, and Abigail's cousin, who is 1/8 black. And the thing about her name is Abigail, he has sort of a soft spot for her because he describes her as beautiful, kind, intelligent, very sweet person, deserving of all the respect and dignity in the world. But because she has that 1/8 of her that is black, she will never be treated with any sort of dignity or respect.
This is infinitely interesting. Okay, so before I say anything, this is obviously still vaguely racist,
and there's lots of problematic.
Yeah, of course,
yes, of course.
But this is insanely interesting.
Yeah,
to me, dude.
So the thing is, when he goes to find Mary after he's made the switch, it's Abigail he meets first. She believes him. As soon as he tells her, she's like, I can see very clearly who you are, in spite of your skin. And the only other person that believes him is, I believe his name was Ben. Is
another black man, right?
Yes. Yeah. Who's his servant, he calls his friend, his closest friend. Mary doesn't believe him immediately. She doesn't believe him until she meets the guy in his body.
I see. Right, okay.
No one believes him
so
at first.
Interesting.
So again, he starts that church, and said he pisses off the racists and the people in the town, and eventually they decide that they're going to they won't deal with this anymore. So they go to his church one day, they pull all the white people out, and they gun down all of the black people in the church. They take him. They take him and they go to basically they tie him up to a tree between two trees, and they're going to kill him. The guy in his body is the one that's going to do it. At the moment of his death, they switch bodies back. And he wakes up in his own body the next day. And after the fallout of all this, see, everyone believes that Dr. Hugway in the body of the black man is dead. And that they believe that the bad guy is still in his body. So the rest of the town go to this house, sort of a brothel. It's not an official brothel that all these people like to hang out at, and they're like, we're just going to kill all these people. And they kind of do that. And then they go to Dr. Hugway's house, and they're going to kill him. Because they think they think the real Dr. Hugway's dead, and the guy in his body is the one who killed him. So his friend the Colonel goes to his house, and he's going to kill him. And he's like, no, it's me, I'm back. Doesn't believe him. Right. So he pulls out his gun and goes to shoot him, but Ben jumps in the way and takes the bullet for him, and he dies. And then that's when the Colonel's like, oh no, I did a bad thing. And poor Abigail, this is one of the worst things about this novel is what he did to Abigail. That's when the Jillian makes me mad, because she's portrayed as like one of the genuinely kindest and sweetest people in this story. The only one who actually believed him. At a certain point, the racist men, she goes missing. She's found later tied up under there's hay bales. But essentially she was kidnapped by all those racist men, and I can't say it on YouTube, but they did what a gang of evil racist men would do to a young woman.
What the fuck?
So,
why? So this is dark. So this is complicated.
Yeah. So when they've got Dr. Hugway in the other guy's body tied up, and the other guy in Dr. Hugway's body is going to stab him, the last thing Dr. Hugway sees before he loses consciousness is a woman running at him and stabbing him in the chest. And it's Abigail. Before the guy in Dr. Hugway's body can go to murder Dr. Hugway, she runs up and she stabs Dr. Hugway's body with the guy in it. And in that moment, they switch. And the other guy dies from being shot by the people. And Dr. Hugway lives with a stab wound. The last time she's seen is during that, when the people are attacking the house and they're killing everyone. There's a long shootout. People die. She goes into a barn, lights a hay bale on fire, runs into the house, and tosses the burning hay bale in. And she just listlessly walks out and is gunned down on her way out, and she died. So the two two nicest, most genuine people, the two people who believed him unconditionally, end up dead.
I can tell this dude likes Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's very Shakespeare.
And that's at the end. He gets back 100%. Into his body. He vows like he's not going to lie. He's like for Abby and Benjamin. He's going to help the African in the country, the black people. He's going to help for their sacrifice because they believed him. They were the genuinely true good people. He's going to help them. He's going to stick to his word. He's going to do what he said he would do.
That's hard for me.
And that's how it ends.
Analyze.
I'm not even joking. This should be taught in schools. This is crazy. How did I never learn about this book?
Yeah, it's honestly, anyone listening, I recommend you can get it for free. It's in public domain now.
Yeah, I need to read this.
I'm giving a good summary, but I'm not doing it.
Of course.
But it is very Shakespearean, though. You do see the Shakespeare
it's very much a tragedy.
Like nothing good happens to anyone.
I feel the Romeo and Juliet. I feel the Hamlet.
Yeah.
All right, so 45 minutes in, we haven't even started talking about the actual book we're supposed to be talking about yet. So we're going to split this episode in two. The next part, I will be getting into the actual book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World.
Wow, man. Like, I'm just kind of stunned. Like, I normally can't shut the fuck up. But, like, I'm kind of stunned at the story and, like, how genuinely compelling the story was. And because, like, my impression of the Antediluvian world, because race does come into play in it, but you've read it front to back.
Mm-hmm.
And just as, like, a teaser, how much does he discuss race in it, or is it kind of downplayed and only mentioned when he's talking about, well, like, that only mentions like lesser societies is almost like an lifted quote.
It carries through the entire book.
Oh, really? So he heavily,
in one way or another. I won't say it's always in that same context. In one way or another, race plays, because he talks about different cultures and different societies and different, like, it is part of it, not necessarily in that same sense as the civilized uncivilized aspect,
right.
But it does play a role throughout.
But it is interesting too, because like the uncivilized, like the way we talked about it before, where like the idea that civilization he believes has to be passed down, not built, really goes into his thinking so much on this. When you said that, I was like, oh, it clicked with me, like, oh, that's why he's so invested in Atlantis, because to him it doesn't come from nothing. He can't grasp the concept that something primitive could build something up. It has to be continually kind of handed down.
He doesn't understand I don't know if he doesn't understand or just doesn't like the idea of iteration over centuries, which is how things developed. They just built and built and built on things over centuries.
Yeah, or co-develop at the same time or whatever. And we'll talk about it more next week. I have an interesting comparison to kind of a modern theory that I heard whenever I was in college. It was very popular at the time, and some of it has been discredited. That I could kind of compare it to, and his thoughts on this is like him using the whole skull thing and stuff like that was kind of the science at the time, and he's using science at the time to kind of not justify, but be like, yeah, that may be true, but like, you know,
we'll get into that in the next episode.
Yeah. All right. So next week, we're going to do part 2 of this and keep talking about Ignatius Donnelly. We didn't know it was going to be this big and this massive. So definitely have to split in the two halves. Follow us on, it's at CH13 Network on all the things, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Find us there. We might eventually expand into other social media platforms. We'll see how it goes and what we actually need to do. Does anyone have anything else to add, John?
Nope.
Feeling good about this?
I have a lot more to say, but I will hold it off for next week.
Okay.
So next week for you guys, it's like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
for us.
we're recording it today.
So we'll call this one here, and when you hear us again next week, we'll be talking about Atlantis, the Antediluvian World.
This has been CH13, and we will see y'all next week.
Bye, everybody!